there, I'm Chris-Rachel Oslin with the Austin Post.
And I'm Gavin Stone with Fanboy TV, and we are here on our South by Southwest Live Day with the director of Lunarcy,
One
Simon.
of my favorites that's out here. I am so happy that we managed to get them out here for the show.
So, quickly, tell us, what is Lunarcy about?
Well, Lunarcy is a sort of comic documentary about a group of dreamers and schemers who, in one way or another, have all devoted their lives to the moon. So we talked to Alan Bean, who was the fourth man to walk on the moon in Apollo 12, who, since he's retired as an astronaut, he's been painting lunar landscapes, and he puts a little bit of moon dust in every painting, and uses some of his tools that he used on the moon to texturize them. We talked to Dennis Hope, who's a fellow from Northern California, who found a loophole in a UN treaty which allowed him to claim ownership to the moon. So for the last 30 years...
So someone owns the moon.
Yeah,
well, a lot of people claim they own the moon.
Yeah, but he's the only one who has a legal claim to it through this UN loophole he found, and he's made millions of dollars selling it 1 acre at a time.
I actually own a tiny piece of the moon.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I'm a property owner as well. I hope we're in the same neighborhood. You should come over.
Probably not. Yeah, that's true. Once we have our domes built, once they actually send things up, you're invited over.
Yeah.
With the MakerBot, essentially builds our homes.
And then there's the sort of star of the movie is a fellow named Christopher Carson, who's from Fort Worth, actually, who has a DIY space program called the Luna Project. He wants to be the first person to leave Earth, not come back, and to go and make his home on the moon.
Which I think is awesome.
I think it's awesome, too.
So what got you started with this type of movie? I mean, other than people like me that have been like in the L5 Society, or as my mom was when I was little, what got you started with this?
Well, I was looking for, I'd only made narrative films beforehand, but I was really interested in the idea of making a documentary, so I kind of was keeping an ear out for different topics, and in the course of about a week, I just read 3 totally different articles about the moon. One was about Dennis, the fellow who owns the moon. One was about the moon in sort of ancient religion, and then one was like a really scientific article about how we could mine the moon for something called helium-3. So it was just in reading these random articles, I just thought, like, wow, there's so many different ways that we can look at the moon, and it would be a really interesting idea for a movie. But then, as I went out and was doing interviews, I got a lot more interested in the stories of the people that I was following and their own kind of creativity and their own passion and inspiration and everything. So it became less about the moon and more about the people.
What do you think drives people that, like myself, are really obsessed with space and just wanting to get out there and settle something?
Well, I mean, you could probably answer that better than me, but I think that there's kind of a really inherent kind of need inside all of us to explore and to see what else is out there, and the pioneer spirit. I think it's just kind of that sort of the next step of where we're going to be. I think in some of us we all want to see what's next and explore.
Well, I mean, I'm so surprised that people are making fun of the folks that want to send a married couple around Mars, even though they're not, like, if I was married and was like happily doing things, yes, I don't care that it's the size of a broom closet. Let's go to Mars. Elon Musk wants to actually bring people out there, and so it always surprises me when people look like that and are so scoffing, like, why would you do that?
I didn't even know this existed, but hearing you guys talk, I understand it, because there's a point in time where our society, we stopped having renaissances. We just accepted that what is here, and it sounds like these guys are looking for the next great renaissance to progress us someplace. Where's our promised flying cars?
I know.
Yeah. That's exactly it, though. That is not far off from a lot of what space advocates say. I mean, that's exactly it. How are we going to grow as a species?
Yeah.
And I mean, we've gotten pretty close to the limit of what's going to happen on Earth. And so what's next? It's the moon. It's Mars. It's beyond.
So I think that a lot of people, when they hear somebody talk about seriously wanting to colonize the moon, there's a whole lot of skepticism, there's a whole lot of disbelief that it could happen, but these people are quite serious about it. And what do you think is the most surprising about these people as individuals? Because I think that they're a lot more normal than folks give them credit for.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I hope that one of the things that audiences come away with from the movie is to be inspired to dream big. I mean, that's sort of what got me interested in these stories was, some of these ideas may sound far-fetched, but there's really a value in dreaming as big as you possibly can. What I think, I mean, everyone's really different, so I don't know if I could make a generalized statement about it, but I think that everybody in the movie has an unbelievable passion, an unbelievable sense of what home is, and also a really good sense of humor. I mean, everybody in the
you
movie.
have to if you really believe in space travel.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be funny to believe in space travel. Why does it have to be funny?
You may notice he's not leaving for Mars with us.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not going to Mars with you guys.
If you're going to be trapped in a confined space for 6 months or 2 years at a time, you better have a good sense of humor, because otherwise I think then you'd go crazy.
Do you think it's feasible to colonize the moon? Like, isn't it always hit with asteroids? I mean, there's craters everywhere.
That's over billions of years. It's not like they hit every Tuesday.
Well, what if one does hit and you've got your little tiny house, your little plot land, and two, you're having some barbecue, and all of a sudden here comes, bam, you're dead.
Oh, we could say the same thing about Russia. I mean,
that looked cool, though. That looked awesome.
Well, no, but you are right, and that is a problem, and that and radiation and temperature is why you actually have to live underground.
Yeah.
So we'd become a society of mole people?
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Well,
have you seen the mole people? Okay.
Well, one of the things that actually a couple of the people talk about in the movie is how to bring the sunlight underground, which is we build underground bunkers and then basically use sort of periscope technology with a series of mirrors.
Which you can do now, actually, with a lot of the underground houses.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can bring the sunlight and the views inside. And so even though we'll be, 10 feet underground, through these mirrors, it'll look like you can see the whole landscape right outside your window.
Do you feel like a lot of them were inspired by some of the classic 70s science fiction, like John Varley, who had his entire epic thing written on the moon?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, one of the people that I talked to, Peter Koch, who for the last 30 years has been writing the Moon Miner's Manifesto, which is a practical guide to how we can make ourselves at home on the moon. I mean, he's been a space advocate since the days of Apollo. He's in his 70s now. Yeah. I think so. I mean, definitely. It was a lot more visible, I think, in the late 60s, the early 70s. And by then, then everyone thought that we'd be on Mars by 1990.
Oh, I know. They were selling plane tickets for it.
Yeah.
Like you're going to fly on a plane to Mars?
Honest to God, they were selling plane tickets.
Yeah.
Why don't we have it?
Well, that's the problem, and that's what I think a lot of the people in the movie are really fighting for. Like, we had this dream. I mean, Kennedy made the speech saying within 10 years we're going to go to the moon. That kind of sounded crazy, but they did it. So if they could do that in 10 years, in 20 years, why not Mars? In 30 years, why not have societies in orbit in space?
So we're talking about people wanting to go to the moon. How many of them are waiting to see little green men?
Almost
you can't
none,
bring up space without aliens. Like, do they expect to come across some sort of life?
I probably not on the moon.
No.
I didn't. There wasn't a lot of interest in aliens and UFOs and stuff in the people that I talked to. I mean, I don't think anybody. I think once you kind of have more of a deeper knowledge of space, I think that you realize how big it is that there may be something else out there. But I don't think that that's really what any of the people in my film at least were. That's not one of their fixations for you.
Oh, I would totally want to meet aliens. What are you talking about?
Well, that's a whole separate issue from colonizing.
I know, right?
On a purely technological level, I feel that right now the growth in things like 3D printer technology and things like that are part of what's making that possible to really revive that dream again. Would you agree on that?
Yeah. I didn't go into that too much in the film, but from what I've read about that, I mean, I think that will be an absolute amazing resource and a really essential tool when
because the whole mooncrete and everything that you can build with, I mean, that's part of the developments in modern 3D printing technology.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you say mooncrete? Like
I
concrete?
said mooncrete, as in making concrete type blocks out of dust from the moon.
Okay,
it's a real term, sir.
I'm learning all sorts of things today. I'm learning where turkey is.
I should have interviewed you for the documentary.
So, have you premiered at South by Southwest yet?
We had our first screening last night. Yeah.
How did it go over?
Oh, it was great. Although my flight from Toronto was canceled at first. I thought I was
Canada
at noon. No, well, it was Delta Airlines, so it was not
America.
So I was concerned because I didn't know if I was going to make the screening, and I just barely missed introing it. But I got there for the Q&A, and Christopher is one of the stars. He was there too, and it was great because we had premiered the film at the Toronto International Film Festival, and we've been kind of making the rounds. And this is our U.S. premiere, so it was great to see him again. And the audiences always love talking to him. So yeah, we had a blast last night. I'm just glad I made it.
Well, thank you so much for making it out for this. I think it's a fantastic movie. Everybody should get a chance to see it. Do you know if it's going to have any theatrical releases at this point?
Well, it's we're playing 2 more times here at the festival, and we're playing at a few other festivals in the States. But our big premiere is actually on Epix. It's on TV on April 3rd. So we're the premiere of their
Write it down.
doc series. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for making it out.
Thanks for having me.